Thank you again for joining us on another episode of The Female Fist. I have a former teammate with us today. It's been a long time since we've seen each other and even longer since we trained together. Please welcome to the show two-time Canadian champion, current professional Canadian boxer, I should say, Jessica the Cobra Camara. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. So as I said, like we used to train together. Like your boxing journey goes like years and way back. I just
Yeah.
kind of want to like give everybody a whole rundown who don't know your story. Can you kind of go through like why did you choose the sport of boxing? Like what kind of drew you to specifically boxing?
Yeah, well, basically it all started with me losing a relative that was really close to me. Um, I lost my godmother to cancer when I was 17, and during her sickness, because I was so close to her and I would always kind of go to her when I had issues, I developed like really bad anger issues. I got angry all the time. I got into fights in high school. I got expelled. I got charged as a youth. Um, yeah, so I was just angry all the time, and I basically, found boxing as a way to, to heal and to relieve all my all my anger. So I was introduced to boxing by Syd's gym, where you're actually training now. That's where it all started. I started when I was 19. So that was 13 years ago. I basically just walked in and I knew I needed something. I was really into fitness at that time because I used fitness as kind of like a way to, release all my emotions. I started like running and stuff.
Yeah.
But something about boxing just really intrigued me, really motivated and inspired me, especially after watching the movie A Million Dollar Baby.
Oh yes.
Yeah, yeah, so that really inspired me. So yeah, I walked into Syd's gym and I did like a fitness class, and I just fell in love with it. Um, and I just kept going like day after day, and I worked so hard. I was always the first one there, last one to leave, working on particular things every day. And I was not a natural at all. So I had my first amateur fight within less than a year, and I was actually at that time the club was registered with the OBA.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Yeah, so we didn't have like the nationals that like they weren't in with like the IABA, right? So they just had their own small tournaments. Um, they had like golden gloves, that kind of stuff. So I got to a point where I was just fighting the same girls over and over again. So I actually transitioned over to, IABA, and that year was 2014. That was the first year. That was the year I won my Canadian title.
Oh, your first Canadian
Yeah,
title, first year
yeah,
going into the AIBA.
yeah. So that was like my first year. Um, doing all the tournaments. So I did all the qualifying tournaments, silver gloves, golden gloves. Went to nationals, won nationals, and was on the national team from 2014, 2015. And then from there, well, that was actually when I was training with you, with Adrian.
Yeah.
And our plan was to turn pro. And then he actually fell ill
Yep.
and passed away. So I brought my career over to Montreal, and I had my pro debut in 2017, March of 2017. And yeah, now here I am. Now I'm 8-2.
I know. It's amazing, amazing pro boxing career that you have so far. You've been kind of like all over the spectrum. You have so much experience in different aspects of boxing, which makes it unique and which makes it like a full package over here.
It's crazy when you look back to it, you figure like, no, wow, like I've already had 10 pro fights. Like everything just happened so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And the OBA, like, was that something that like you chose to do first? Was that something like, okay, I'll try OBA first and then kind of see like,
No, no, it was more so because of the because I was with training with Syd, and
right.
that the club was with OBA, so they were
Oh,
registered with
okay,
the
okay, okay.
OBA. So that's just I didn't really know anything other than that, right? So I mean, that was the only real boxing club that I knew of in the area. There was others, but that was one I was introduced with. I love Syd. Syd was such a role model for me when I first started. And yeah, so that's basically, I was in the OBA for a few years, like 3, 4 years. But yeah, I was just fighting the same people over and over again. And I just got to a point where, I had to.
Kind of like move forward and
Mhm,
progress with the
exactly.
sport itself. And when did you hear about like AIBA? Because you said that all you knew was OBA. So when did you kind of get introduced to the whole like, oh wait, there's AIBA, and that kind of goes
Uh,
towards.
yeah, well, I don't recall exactly when it was like, oh, AIBA, but I know through word of mouth, I knew there was just more opportunity through, traveling internationally and doing, going to nationals and all that.
Right.
Actually, before I even went into the AIBA and went to nationals, in my mind, I was just like, I'm going to go pro because that's ideally what my goal was. And then, I overthought and I was like, why not get some more amateur experience and then turn pro? And I'm glad I did. Got the experience and everything worked out the way that it was supposed to work out in the
Right,
end.
right. Of course. That's how like funny how life always kind of unfolds. Because I know
Yeah.
that when you transition, I mean, when you said that you started boxing because you lost a relative, I can completely relate because that's exactly why I started boxing.
Oh,
Like
really?
that's the exact reason I lost my grandfather. Him and my grandmother had been raising me, and then when he passed away, my dad was just trying to be more there. It's just he worked at a boxing gym day in and day out, so that's how I was spending all day there with him.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
that's how I kinda.
But it helped you heal.
Absolutely. So when
Yeah.
you say, like, something about boxing, like,
Mhm.
I totally understand because it's like, I with that anger in mind where you were just kind of, like, getting into fights with people, it's the same thing. I was just
Yeah.
in middle
You
school.
don't know how to handle it,
Yeah,
especially
I
at a
just
younger
released
age.
it, and that's
Mhm.
the person I'm like, you're physical, you have an athletic build, like, that's, like, how your body's almost made up, so you start physical reactions,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then bring it out, it makes sense to hit something.
Yep.
It's like, "Oh, this feels right, I wonder why this feels so good."
Good thing I ended up in the boxing gym because I didn't want to break any more faces.
Right? Let's not let's not create a career for crime, right? Let's go into something a little bit more disciplined where it's legal.
Exactly.
So and also too, I can also relate with you because you've been through, like, obviously multiple coaches. I've been through multiple coaches as well at this point. So how many coaches have you experienced throughout the years? Like, have you, like, learned and taken away from each coach something new, or do you wanna
Yeah,
go.
absolutely. I started off with Sid. I was with Sid for like 7 years.
Wow, I didn't even know you were with him
Yeah,
that long.
a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically I started with him. It was 2008, and then it was like 2013. I From there I went. I trained with Chris Johnson for a bit, so he actually took me through. I won my first Canadian title with him,
Okay.
and yeah, from there I trained with Adrian, and now I'm with Ian Mackillop.
Ian
I've
Mc
had other coaches, help me here and there. I spent some time at Huff Gym. I
Right.
love. I have a lot of respect for that gym. Yeah, with Olga and with Andrew. Um, but yeah, I've met some really cool people through the sport.
Funny how boxing, your community grows so much because, I mean, boxing, there is no specific kind of people that come into it. Like, you can come in there for recreational
Uh-huh.
purposes, you can come in there just like for boxer size or fitness classes, you can come in there to compete, either Olympic style or professional. Like, there's so many different kind of people that come through
Mhm.
boxing, and the people that you meet are so diverse in
Yeah,
the sport. It's really cool.
that's what I love about going to the boxing gym every day. It's like you never know what faces you're going to see in the gym every day.
Yeah.
Every day is different when you go in there.
And that's the nice thing. I remember seeing like at my dad's gym because he used to train police officers, and he also because he had this program back at when he used to train at Champions, he had this program for, I guess, ex-convicts or people to
Oh,
get
that's so
community
cool.
hours and stuff. So he would have police officers and correction officers sparring with
Oh
ex-convicts.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I was like, well, that's kind of funny because those are completely different sectors of life, right? But coming into one gym for one
did they
goal.
show discipline or did they?
No, they were totally cool.
Yeah.
Like, they yeah, and actually, I think it built a lot more respect between the 2. I mean, from the people that I used to see. But, I mean, mind you, I was a kid, so maybe I just saw rainbows and sunshines everywhere.
But that's
Like
what I love about the sport, having, people through all different struggles in life, and, they get in the ring and they just, they're all dealing with something in particular, right? And then boxing is just a way of healing. It's a spiritual thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because it's a very old-fashioned saying, but it's so true. You never know how strong you are until you have to fight.
Uh-huh.
And it's like the rawest form is actually fighting,
Mhm.
right? Everybody always uses like anything like job opportunities or other sports, like you have to fight for it. It's like people are going into like, let's say, a volleyball tournament and they're like, you have to fight for that championship. And then when you actually look at like the combat sports, like that's the literally raw version of it. They're actually
Yeah.
fighting for that win, which I absolutely love.
And you learn so much about that, like just the character that it takes, to be a champion. But if you use those same characteristics on the outside of like whatever you want to achieve in life, it just takes, discipline, hard work, everything that it is you put in the gym, you can do it elsewhere.
Exactly. You get what you put in.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So, from each coach that you've been with, what is like the one common thing that you saw amongst the coaches? And what are some of the things that you really took that were really important to you from each coach that you are still using present today?
Um, every coach is really different.
Mhm.
Um, like with Sid taught me all the everything from the jab. He taught me all the fundamentals. But Sid has this like swag to him.
Yeah, he does. He walks with a swag.
Yeah, but he teaches his fighters to have that swag in the ring, that confidence,
Yeah.
just to have fun with it. Um, that's something to this day, I still think of from Sid. Um, with Chris, his combinations for sure. The double left hook, I still use that. It's like one of my favorite combos.
Mhm.
Um, Adrian was more of the one combination I really use from him is the jab, right jab, using
Oh,
those
it's
straight
like
punches. And I use it all the time. And so people see it, they're like, wow, I really like how you finish off with the jab. And that's, something I work from him. Certain combinations that, that I've learned from Adrian, I still use now. And I mean, round out what I am right now as a fighter is all Ian, along with, everything I've like, it's been 13 years that, I've learned so much through the career, and, I'm just that in a nutshell right now.
I totally understand, and, like, I can see even when you're thinking about it, there's just so much experience to just shuffle
Yeah, it's
through
like to
memories.
think about it all. Yeah, it's like going over the whole 13 years. It's like
Yeah,
a lot has happened.
a lot. You
Mhm.
know, when you started, I was 13. When you started, I was 13.
You're making me feel old.
No. No, it's just because when I went into the sport, like, officially as a competitor, you, Mandy, Kim Clavel, Tavina Coombe, like, all these girls, I was just Bonnie, Mary Spencer, like, all you women, I was all looking at all of you, just in different weight categories, the different styles and everything, so I look
Mhm.
up to all of you thinking like, "Wow, look at these women that have been doing this when I was, like, just finishing puberty," you know?
And I never seen you as that young. Like
Thank you. Yeah, I was like
one
17.
of us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So now that you and I should say congratulations on your fantastic win against Heather
Thank
Hardy.
you.
That was amazing, amazing performance. How did you feel like so when you got the opportunity to have that fight, like how did that go? Because I know that right now with COVID and everything, everything's been very sticky for all athletes.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like at the moment, I mean, it's so difficult for, to travel outside of Canada, and there's not really much happening within Canada
Mhm,
in regards to shows. Now there is, but like I'm talking a few months back,
mhm,
there wasn't. Um, so my manager Brian Cohen, he was looking for fights, but it had to be a fight that, was going to mean something, because I'm not just going to go over and, have to come back and quarantine, because I do have a full-time job. So, I mean, it had to make sense, it had to be, a good fight. So he's like, yeah, let me work on it. And yeah, so he basically came, it was in January, there was talks like, yeah, Heather Hardy in April. And we're like, okay, this is good. But there was not, it was never like on paper. So we're like, okay, so we just started preparing.
Yeah.
But it was never for sure. And then in March we got the contract. So we were like,
damn.
I was just so happy. She was somebody I always looked up to. And she's a big name in women's boxing. So it was just such a big opportunity for me. I trained so hard. I put in so much work, and I was just confident. I went in there and I just
You just did your thing.
did my job. Yeah.
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 Yeah, all the hard work to speak for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Exactly. I went into the ring like I was just so calm, so confident. I didn't feel nervous at all. I just went in there and I just treated it like, it was just another day on the job. And I just went in there and did my thing. And, we came out with victory. I was really happy with my performance. There's still some things, I do want to work on and improve. But yeah, definitely my best performance yet. And I am really happy with the performance and how everything turned out.
especially with an opponent like Heather Hardy, because it's
Yeah.
like one of those, what I'm picturing is it's one of those things for you, is like where your idols become your rivals. Things.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. And I like, again, I told you this earlier in the messages when I first messaged you, like, I'm so happy for you, for everything that I've been seeing. You've been getting all this experience with all these great other female boxers, and it's only upwards from here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Only up from here.
And hopefully, hopefully things start opening up and you can get more international opportunities and whatnot. Is there anybody in Canada right now that you have your eyes on?
In Canada?
Mhm.
No, like, I mean, I want to get titles. I want to get to the top girls. So within Canada, I mean, unless there's, a champion in Canada in my weight category, no, it makes no sense, right? I want to get the top girls, Katie Taylor being the toppest, but anything I have to do to get me to there, so my ultimate goal is to be a world champion and to get those titles. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Is the Serrano sisters, are they in your weight class too? The Serranos?
Not well, Amanda Serrano, I think Cindy Serrano might be retired now. I'm not too sure.
Right.
I don't know but she just fought Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
So Amanda Serrano, she bounces around weight classes. So right now she fights at 120, 122, something like that. I don't know exact. But yeah, so she wants to unify that division. So right now she's not, there is talks of her fighting Katie Taylor, but yeah, she's actually her and Katie Taylor are my favorite female fighters. And fighting Katie Taylor would be like my dream fight.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, I love Katie Taylor. She's just like, she's my idol, in this boxing. I think she's just absolutely phenomenal. I think she's just like, and I totally agree with you. That would be the most amazing opportunity for you. And you gotta get there. You gotta get there because you'll want her to retire before you get that opportunity. Because she's been doing it for a while now, so you don't want it to
That's where my eyes are at.
right. So as well, I heard that your current beautiful wife, you actually met each other.
Yeah, we were just saying how we meet cool people in the sport of boxing. Yeah, but that's how I met my wife.
Yeah, can you walk me through that?
Yeah, for sure. So it was actually my second pro fight in Hamilton, Ontario, on the Three Lions promotions card. And I was fighting my wife now, back then, from Mexico. So yeah, so we didn't know each other. Actually, I didn't even see any video on her. I didn't see any pictures, nothing. I knew nothing about her. So we had our face off at the weigh-in, And I was like, there was a connection there. It was really weird, but it was like, I was so focused on the fight. Right. So I went back to my team and I was like, she's into me. And then no. I think she's here with her husband. I'm like, no. And then the one person on my team was like, I'm gonna get her number. And I'm like, I don't think that's gonna happen. And then little I know, she's went over to her corner, was saying the same thing.
Exact same thing.
So after the fight, my other coach had asked her team for, for contact info. Do you think, you can hook us up type thing? And then they're like, yeah, no, she's not into you. So they kind of gave him a hint.
I knew that.
Yeah. So yeah, after that, I just contacted her through Facebook, and we were just talking back and forth for a bit, and then in April, it was my birthday, and I was turning 30. So I was like, hey, like, why don't we go to Cancun on a vacation together? So that's what we did.
Oh my God.
We met up in Cancun, spent my 30th birthday together, and we just hit it off. But she went back to Mexico, I went back to Canada, and I didn't speak Spanish at the time. She only spoke Spanish. So when we're speaking like through Facebook, I'm using Google Translate. Like and even in Cancun, like I was still using Google Translate. Yeah. I was slowly learning as we were going, but yeah, the communication wasn't there 100%.
Right.
Yeah. So we were doing long distance relationship for almost a year. Before she came down here for 3 months just to see, how it's going to really, really work. And when she came down, everything was perfect. So I proposed to her.
Oh my God, look at that. And then boom. And I proposed. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. So that's, people always, whenever in the boxing community, you always hear like a couple here, a couple there that they kind of met through boxing, but that's really unique. Where like you guys met, but not like through boxing, like you met at boxing each other. That's a very unique one. Well, I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy that you guys found each other in such a unique way. I'm sure that's always fun to tell everybody.
Crazy how life can happen sometimes, how you meet certain people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really the sound is kind of off. How's your I
can hear my sound. Your sound is cutting a little bit.
Maybe it's my wife. Let me see. I'm with Belle. How's the sound now?
I can hear you. It's just there's a little
staticky.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay. Whatever. So, do you have any upcoming fights lined up for yourself right now?
Nothing lined up. Trying to get something within the next 3 months. Nothing is set in stone yet. So I'm just getting back in the gym and staying in shape. Don't want to lose my shape. So yeah, just waiting for for the call.
I guess a lot of people right now are right now. Like that's what I'm doing. I train like 2 because why am I going to burn myself out if I don't have to burn myself out?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like until you have a fight lined up, you don't train the same, right? It's not the same intensity. You don't have the same motivation. You can still go in there and train, but intensity is completely different when you have a fight coming up.
Exactly. And that's basically because I go to Florida frequently, they got everything going on there. Like even different states, they're all competing in like boxing, everything. And I feel like we're just sitting here just like, we'll be up there soon.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Like when I left here for the fight in Tennessee, the Montreal airport was like, it was so dead. There was nobody there. It was and then we go into into the US, it's like a zoo at the airport. It was crazy. Like everything was open, the bars were open. They're just, I felt like I was like back in 2019. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like everyone's like no masks on.
It's you come back and
like, come back. Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. Like, and you know, I think that whenever we open up, everybody's saying that we're all going to be rusty and everything. I don't know. I think everybody's training. But I think everybody's training. I think that we're just missing the actual competition. So I think that when the competition opens up, I think you're going to see a lot of frustrated fighters coming in there just ready to fight. That's my hypothesis. Yeah.
Everyone's been holding back. Especially because you can't even get in there and spar, you know. And what I feel like seeing is, you know, people trying to be ways of training, you know.
I'm gonna try to fix this Wi-Fi because it's sound is bad. Can I connect this? Let's find out.
Can you hear me or am I static?
I can hear you, but you're very static. Say something. Say something.
Hey, check.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Sorry. Yeah, you just gotta, you know, sit and roll.
You know what I mean? Well, I'm so happy that we took the time to come on to the show because I just wanted to, you know, see how you're doing and, you know, congratulate you on your fight, look into what's been going on and what you have in store. I'm super excited to see what you have coming up next. And I'd love to have you on the show again. And is there anything that you'd like to tell our audience while you're having here?
Just I'd like to thank everybody. You know, I've had so much love, like, throughout the whole, you know, process of, like, you know, before I fought the party and after. Definitely feel all the love between everybody, especially, you know, the boxing scene in Canada. I felt a lot of love from everybody, and it means a lot, and it's been a long journey, and the best is yet to come. So just be on the lookout. Good things are happening.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see your episode fight. And I'd love to see the fight with the Serrano sisters and then eventually get each other. That would be
cool. That would be cool. Only big things are going to happen. I feel like big opportunities are going to come. But thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
No. Thank you. I love just getting all like onto the show. I love hearing everybody's stories. Well, like we talked about earlier, you can come from such a different background that we're all here in the same sport. It's just incredible. I love hearing everybody's stories, and just as much as I love hearing yours, and it's so relatable to mine. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah, I was happy to see, you know, we got into boxing, you know, the same reasons.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of The Female Fist. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Thanks again.